Greetings, dear friends. Welcome to the new moon meditation for the common good. Today we meet in our circle, continuing holding the focus on the topic that we started reflection during the full moon, during the Leo festival. Right relationships, listening and responding to the voice of silence. We've been holding this topic for the last 2 weeks in our group focus, meditating, reflecting, sharing our impressions in our circle. Today, as we prepare for the exact time of the full moon in about 12 hours, we will bring our most relatives into the circle as seeds to be magnetized and radiated through our focus group meditation into the mental stream of human kingdom. As always, we start our work with sounding the statement of purpose. And I invite Tracy to voice our purpose for us.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Our purpose for meditation of the common good is to magnetize the ideas of common good for freedom and brotherhood as the highest values of humanity at this time. We recognize and cherish diversity of perspectives in our group, creating a space capable of invoking, receiving, interpreting, and radiating a higher synthetic vision. We serve as an ashramic post, building a group bridge of Buddhic energy. We evoke the soul of humanity. We envision humanity as being the seed that is flowering. And we prepare the way for the reappearance of the coming one. And as we begin our focus today in this new moon meditation, we now bring in the naming circle, which unites our hearts across distance. As we begin our alignment and bring ourselves fully into our group work. By uniting our hearts in this way, we begin naturally to work with we work telepathically through our group mind. And the key to this telepathic work is in the etheric alignment, which creates the group field and allows it to become both a receiving and transmitting agent for higher ideas and energies. We will begin by calling our names into the circle, starting with our organizers. And as your name is called, please unmute yourself, say your name, and where you are calling in from. For example, Tracy Arbor calling in from Novi, Michigan, USA. And as we go through this, let us turn our attention to our hearts and the heart center of the group gathered today, as each one of us calls ourselves into this circle. Alexander.
Hello, my name is Alexander Ilchuk, and I'm calling in from Brooklyn in New York, United States.
Welcome. Aneta.
Hello, I'm Annette Löffler, calling in from Denmark.
Welcome. Helen.
Hello, I'm Helen, and I'm calling in from England, quite near to London.
Welcome. Catherine.
Aloha, I'm Catherine and I'm calling in from Pahoa, Hawaii.
Welcome. Kiki.
Hello, I'm Kiki Bill, and I'm calling in from Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Welcome. Maria Christina.
Maria Cristina Donadieu, calling in from the Arizona Sonora Desert, here outside Tucson, USA.
Welcome. Lynn.
Hello, friends. This is Lynn in Columbus, Ohio, in the USA.
Welcome. Michelina.
Hello, I am Michelina. I live in Italy.
Welcome. Rose. Rose, can you unmute yourself, please?
We can see you unmuting you, Rose, but we cannot hear you.
Yeah.
Something with your audio.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yep.
Yes. So this is Rose Bates. I'm calling in from St. Louis, Missouri, USA.
Welcome. Thank you, everyone. Now that we are linked together as a group, let us share a few moments in silence to align, forming a triangle between Shambhala, the hierarchy, and humanity. May our efforts be of the highest vibration in selfless service for our purpose. Over to you, Alexander.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, friends. I will share now a link to our community boards that we use to share our impressions between our meetings, impressions and quotes and any other materials that inspire us in our reflection on the topic. So I suggest we hold another couple of minutes of silence between this link to read what's been shared on the community boards before we open our floor for further sharing. And when we are ready, we can open our group sharing. On the screen, you can see the questions that were offered to us by Anata, who focalizes our meditation in this cycle, to help us bring our group mind and focus on the topic, right relationships, listening and responding to the voice of silence. When you are ready to share, please unmute yourself. And as we share and listen to each other, let us hold the meditative focus.
This is Annette. Each of us has its own limitation, which will block or hinder the free flow of soul energy in us, and we must find them and eliminate them as good as we can. Thank you.
This is Rose. For number one, what really helps is seeing the divine essence behind the personality in each person or groups of people or even events. As for the ray makeup and astrology, often when there is conflict or tension, it can be due to forces that we are either unfamiliar with or maybe are that we don't have in our own makeup. We don't have that certain ray or that astrology energy is squared to something in our makeup, but to recognize those energy forces that we find perhaps almost antagonistic or in discord with as balancing the whole, appreciating that which is a part of the composite that isn't a part of our field. And as for number 3, we can use this knowledge of the synthesis of the bigger picture in seeing the plan working out through many parts versus, and the parts that each part plays versus what can we see that as the differences, we see those as part of the greater whole working in a synthesis and a unity. Thank you.
Like to just make an observation rather than actually answering the questions. I've just been on a Zoom call with our healing group, and we had someone from America, Germany, UK, Greece, and Iran, and we were looking at telepathy. We were working with some telepathic ideas, and it's just so interesting that these questions could have been what we wrote up in that meeting, and sometimes I think, oh, telepathy doesn't really work, and then I see that it does. And in our other aspect of the new moon work, where we're linking telepathically with other groups around the world, I just find it very interesting how we are discussing the same topics, asking the same questions, and how it all ties up. I'm also interested in DK saying that telepathy will become the way of communication, and how speech will only be left for speaking to those who are perhaps a little not as further along the developmental evolutionary path. So we'll still be able to use words, but between the slightly more evolved beings, we will communicate telepathically, and I just love that sense of connection, and yeah, the etheric linking in. So thank you all so much.
I think the astrology of the moment affects our flow of thought too. And it's been wonderful to be part of the group, because we can all, I think, sense that connection anytime we turn our attention to it. And that sense has become stronger and stronger, I know, in me. And it's become broader and broader and more inclusive after taking part, some in the New Moon Worldwide group. Also, oh, I had something else. I'll have to come back to it. I have to bring it back up. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention was the in dealing with opposites. I think it's good to try to remember that that really opposites may have a sort of, each end have a sort of unique character, but they're really energies on the same continuum. So if we can keep that in mind, I think it's helpful and challenging too.
We also have to listen to our energy level. When our energy level is low, if we are tired or depressed, then we react on the negative part or the lower part of our ray makeup and astrology. And then it is not necessarily important stuff that is coming through. But when we are in a group like this, then the energy level will rise, and the energy level will be more than our energy level combined. So that's a important factor also. Thank you.
Thinking of what Rose said and Helen was saying, seeing the divine essence in each, we sort of talked about that the other time. It was, I think we did, trying to see the other human being as sacred and listening and trying to, there was listening and trying to understand. And that can be very hard when it's with someone who is diametrically and violently opposed and different to what you think. And with everything in the world, it's hard to do that. But perhaps that's the deeper esoteric, one of them, deeper esoteric meanings, that we have to hold everybody in a certain balance. the issues in a certain balance and to bring love into it, which seems to love and forgiveness seems to be the things that I've been working with these past few months in thinking and thoughts. That they seem to the equalizers and the things that open up issues, the things that make it soft, that could make it accessible at some point. There was something else, but I forgot it. Thanks.
I think the esoteric knowledge is making us more, hopefully more accepting of that we each have our way, and it isn't necessarily the same. And I also have I have had a long period of stress, and then I have been very sensitive to noise. So when I hear quarrels in the television, I can't stand it, and that makes it difficult to embrace the opposite thoughts that I have. So I think I have to work about that something more. Thank you.
I have a question maybe that people could help to answer. I think when I think of relationships and some of these issues we're talking about, for me, it's sometimes dealing with rays 1 and 2 and the differences between them, and between the actions that need to be taken. And I'm kind of, I think maybe because it's the new moon and the energy levels maybe aren't as high as sometimes. I'm tended to think of it on a more partly on a personality level. For instance, what do you do with a bully? How do you handle that? And I'm sure it depends on who that bully is and what the situation is. It's all specific to a situation, but still, it's kind of to me like ray 1 or ray 2 or a mixture of both. I know during World War II, it says in the books that the blue books that the hierarchy was behind fighting, was behind the fighting by the Allies, and that had to be carried out in a physical level. And of course, there's all the teaching about all the karma that was paid and all the energy that was released through that terrible, terrible trauma. But anyway, that's something that maybe people have ideas about. Thanks. One other thing, just for a minute, it's my tendency to say, rise above it all, go somewhere beyond all of it and try to radiate the energies that we want to see, behind everything and expressing through everything the love and wisdom. And my tendency is to say, abstract yourself. But I don't know. I don't know. What do other people think?
I wonder if the words light and love and power, it's sort of always love, always forgiveness, and always power that's needed, because without power or strength or fortitude, not going to get very far. I don't know, thanks.
these things can surprise you. I was having a cup of coffee yesterday, the day before, and suddenly I was sitting outside, and somebody obviously annoyed somebody else by parking badly, or I don't know, in the wrong place. I don't know what it was about, but there was a great deal of swearing and shouting. And suddenly somebody else came into the fray and started punching one of the men. Punched them to the ground and hit them. And in all my 80 years, I have never experienced that before. I've never seen a fight. And I was completely taken aback. It was so completely unexpected. And I was just interested in looking at myself and seeing how I respond to something which is not expected, and that was interesting to look, and it was to envision light and love coming into the situation, and the man who was throwing the punches walked away. I don't know what the outcome of the whole thing was, but it was just interesting to see how you know, you get used to responding to certain relationships and when something quite new hits you, how you respond. So yeah, thank you.
It's interesting how we respond to the conflict when it goes down, you know, to the levels that we can't imagine, right? Now, when I was younger, I used to travel on the trains, and back then it was in Russia in the 90s. People were really, really agitated and very aggressive. And read about back then, I read the study about, not the study, teaching about the color. I was studying healing back then, and like it was the study about the imposition of the color. So you can impose the color, but you can visualize the color. And I remember sitting, meditating, and just seeing like blue light coming in, you know, and calming everybody. And it worked to a certain extent. Mantras work. So bringing in the energies that are higher. Sometimes when airplanes, when things get rough, my niece taught me to just chant Om Mani Padme Hum. And sometimes I even sing, you know, because it's kind of noisy environment. Nobody notices really what you're doing. But I noticed that as soon as the mantra comes in, the space around starts to change. There is some level of connection with those angelic presences that are in charge of that space or this airplane. I don't know if it's a secondary, technique. rely on the higher beings to be involved, invoked, and through aligning ourselves, we align the space we're in. I found it very helpful to invoke connection with the group centers through the group heart, lean into.
When we turn the page, we come to section 2, entitled Solar Fire, the Fire of Love, which
Yes. So group centers, and you link with the group and invoke this group field for an assistance, also very helpful. And what helps me through relating to things that are completely not on my personality level, not acceptable to me, is the understanding of the evolutionary process. So what's the evolutionary purpose here? What is this conflict bringing about? How come, we normally beat each other when we can't hear each other. That's the mode of physical connection. That means that's the only way. So how do we step back to the level of connection that allows us to embrace each other rather than hit each other? So that's a lot of great questions. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very helpful. I'm reading the book Light on the Path by Mabel Collins, and the first 2 rules is before the eyes can see, they must be incapable of tears. And the next one is before the ear can hear, it must have lost its sensitivity, its sensitiveness. And I've been lost in those 2. I know that it is about lifting the energy as high as possible, but I'm not there yet that my eyes don't get tears, or that my ears are not sensitive. So I just must try on, go on. Thank you.
I wonder, Annetta, if those ideas are more about the time when we reach, I guess, which we eventually all do, reach the point in our evolution where we're more concerned with, say, the purpose of the solar being, or maybe even the purpose of the planetary logos, rather than having our hearts full of trying to help humanity. I think there's probably a major difference in those focuses. I have to just try to use my imagination to figure that out. But I think maybe that's what she's talking about. And I think that it would be maybe kind of, for me now, I wonder if not having a tear when I see something that calls for compassion. I mean, I know what she means in the sense that you have to have detachment, I think, to be effective. But we can't be experiencing it through our solar plexus necessarily as the main avenue, but still, I think compassion calls for a certain amount of understanding of what it feels like, even if it might bring a tear, even if we're not going to let that dictate our response. If when we make a response, rather than a reaction. I still can't imagine not having a tear for something that is really sad that we see someone going through. Okay.
Yes, I also think it's we need to lift ourselves from the personality to the soul, because otherwise we can't see ourselves when we are part of it, and we can't see others and discern what needs to be done if we are not detached or on a soul level. Thank you.
I think, so for many years, I stopped crying. And recently, the events are overwhelming, and I feel like I hit the new level of matter, which is not really clear. But when you speak, and then I think that what I would want to have instead of tears is like an outburst of love, like the impulse, influx of love, the energy that doesn't come with tear, but comes through like higher place out of the. Do you remember in Treatise on Divine Magic when the magician steps out of the water onto the dry place? So to me, I mean, as much as I completely understand and can relate to the moment of tear as compassion, but still, I know for me, I feel that I'd rather be on a dry land and give help, because only when we allow, I believe that when we allow this impulse of loving energy come, it can come in a very forceful way. Sometimes not even I don't know how to call it. Like name it, like words, stop at that point. So, but yeah, I'd rather feel loving coming through me. I hope it will come. With a sensitivity of a different kind. The levels of sensitivity will change, and the sensitivity to this energy of love being present and us being bridged for that to others. Like air that being pumped to those who are underwater so they can breathe and come up. That's what I hope for. Thank you.
I love that idea of helping from the dry land. But I think also in the first question, this respect on all levels, that, if we do cry, and that we have respect for ourselves also, that this is how we are, and it is okay too.
I would add to that, not only respect, but love as well.
Indeed, Katja.
Yes.
Indeed.
Loving ourselves at that point, out of humanistic approach to our own path of change and developing, and situation of the body we're in, that sometimes cannot hold the pain. That's too much. So, yeah. Thank you.
I read the other day a quote by Mark Twain, which I'm just thinking of now as you all speak, Katya and Helen. That kindness is the one language the deaf can hear and the blind can see. This seems all that. Thanks.
I'm very inspired and find healing in this conversation that you're having, and Katya and Helen, and I think it was Kiki that said the Mark Twain one. I, as an empath and a clairsentient, I've learned over time to discern in my responses and reach for feeling tone rather than emotionality. And I'm calling what I call emotionality is kind of goes into an indulgence or into wounding and kind of darker, lower energies in myself. And feeling tone, when I get tears of recognition of truth or an alignment or affinity of awareness that is healing and inspiring, I consider that feeling tone. So I actually and it is a act of kindness with myself to uh, be present in that way and gently encourage myself to be in feeling tone with the nobler vibration of what is going on, and I nod and respect the emotionality that sometimes is there as an indication of a healing, of an aspect of healing that I need to give attention to in the future. So just offering that as possible helpfulness for others.
Yes, it is all about discernment of the different voice of the silence, to discern the higher from the lower and the inner from the outer. Thank you.
I was talking to a psychologist, and she mentioned that hormones in our body are responsible for the strength of our will. Very much, I think, relates to what Tibetan says about, how hormones, glands, and certain centers are related to that. That's the energy. And also, it's interesting to me that when we cry, I forgot what it is, but there's adrenaline, I believe, is released through the tears. Extra adrenaline is dropped. So when there is pain, there are tears, and it's all related in the physical body, regulating. So I would also discriminate between emotional moments and physical awareness of the brain regulating our being so we can continue. So it will be easier for the body to go through an experience. This divine body of ours has an intelligence of an enormous exactitude. you know. Hence, I would believe that if we invoke the higher strength, will aid the body or the group body, the physical presences, the field, whatever it is. And it only happens if we're trained to do that, you know. I'm sure all of us do. It's just when we use it as a group conscious element of our living, I think it will strengthen the practice.
It's difficult living in a world where all activity is happening on this outer level, and to find that place of silence, to find that serenity, to allow ourselves to find that serenity is another task, because sometimes things get so involved in the outer world. And you know, it's hard. I've been looking at esoteric healing, and they talk about inhibited soul life is what is the cause of all disease. Inhibited soul life is also what causes the unrest in relationships with others. So these questions, Ray, makeup, astrology, knowing ourselves, knowing who we are, that's all a part of the healing process. I think that we're all, I don't want to say forced to go through right now, but we're all pretty much in that place where we have to start looking at ourselves, even those that aren't maybe esoterically trained or veering towards that or studying it. Just in general, people are having to look at the world and say, you know, this isn't working. What do we need to do? You know, what do I need to do in my life? So, yeah, I just wanted to share that. Thanks. Good questions, Annetta. Thank you.
Thank you. I also think we should look at our ray makeup. For instance, I've heard that a third ray gets so many good ideas and creativity and thoughts that it is difficult for them to find the voice of the silence. It is difficult to find the silence within, and so every ray has its positive and negative effect, and that ray that is dominant in us is it is important for us to know which ray makeup and the astrology that can help or hinder, and how we can address it. Thank you.
We're coming close now to the time when we'll be starting our meditation in our program here today. So if there's anyone else that would like to say something or share anything with the group, please go ahead and do it now in these last few minutes that we have available. Thank you. Okay, well, if we're at the end of our sharing right now, it's time to begin to formulate the seed thoughts that we are going to be placing in our group chalice today during the meditation. Maybe some thoughts and impressions that have stimulated our hearts and minds over the last few weeks during this cycle of Leo to Virgo. So now I'm going to ask Annetta to please lead our group in our new moon meditation today. Over to you, Annetta.
Thank you. So the topic is right relationship, listening and responding to the voice of the silence. Let us move into silence and become aware of the stillness within. We align with our heart, our asana, and soul. And from the soul, we link with the group heart, the group asana, and the group soul. The heightened vibration and love that we hold within our group now draws the presence of higher vibrational beings who are here to guide and assist the energy and thought forms we will be magnetizing. Let us now connect with the hierarchy through our group Antakarana as we link the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. Visualize before us the glowing beauty of our chalice, which our work together feeds and fills. This golden chalice is made of numerous threads of golden light, which have been energized through our group contemplation, impressions, thoughts, and heartfelt unity. The sun is just going from Leo to Virgo, so we are currently under their influence in a flux of continuous glowing change, morphing from the inflow and outflow of its energy. From Esoteric Astrology, page 332, we have a chart saying that Virgo in the undeveloped man is the germinating energy working through the mother. Virgo in the advanced man is the creative force working through the protector. In disciples and initiates, it is the Christ activity working through the light. We see the evolution from personality to soul and spirit, from the germinating energy to the creative force, to the Christ activity, through the mother, the protector, and the light. Virgo hides the light which irradiates the world in Aquarius. Virgo is the blended dual light. Two lights are seen, bright and strong the light of form, one faint and dim the light of God. This light is distinguished by a waxing of one and waning of the other. It differs from the light in Gemini. The soul says, I am the mother and the child. I God, I matter, am. I am the mother and the child. I God, I matter, am. So let us reconnect with our topic, right relationship, listening and responding to the voice of the silence. Right relationship, listening and responding to the voice of the silence. And let us take a few moments in silence to reflect on all that we have shared together, including our responses. We ask the hierarchy to guide and inspire us as we allow our thoughts to crystallize, grasping the essence of the purpose of our work throughout this cycle. And with love, we offer our efforts into the chalice, each one unmuting and speaking as you are moved to. We also honor those who choose not to speak, but who silently offer their formulated seeds into the chalice. After each vocalized offering, we will allow each seed to rest in silence for a while before the next one is offered. Let us now begin.
Our energy does affect those in groups around us, and we can use that to intentionally raise energies, like by saying invocations and things like divine love to all beings, north, south, east, and west, above, below, without, within, divine love to all beings.
Remember who we are. Be still and know that I am God.
Let humanity be supported by those energies of Virgo in its ability to cleanse the astral plane, the polarized and mental plane, and receive the loving energy of the soul, detached, loving, and all-encompassing.
Discernment.
Determination and gentleness.
This is my commandment, that ye love one another.
Are there more seed thoughts?
Devotion to the light of the soul will bring humanity through the trials and tests. And also Michelina wrote in the chat in Italian, which is translated in the English as, "Let the light shine victoriously over the darkness."
Thank you for all the seeds. We focus on the purpose of our work today and the seeds collected, allowing them to vibrate and resonate within the embracing light of our group vessel. We magnetize it now with the light of Leo going into Virgo as we invoke the will to good to potentiate our group intention. We lift our group chalice, offering it to the hierarchy as our group service on behalf of the one divine plan. We now turn toward humanity and offer our service in support of the collective evolution of humanity. Let us now close our work as we identify with the soul in all and apply our efforts to be in accordance with divine will. We now send forth the results of our efforts, thoughts, love, and the energy of our group work to help our Earth in all its diversity and ultimate unity through its transformational journey into the sacred planet. We do this through focused direction of energy from our group Ashna, sending the light out to higher beings, to other spiritual groups, to the soul of humanity, and to all sentient beings as we assist the forces of light. And in conclusion, we seal and complete our work together today by sounding the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call humanity, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Ooh.